Captain Enrique de la Cruz had just finished a long-haul flight and was eager to head home. He walked toward his car, adjusting his captain's hat, when flashing red and blue lights stopped him in his tracks. A police cruiser pulled up and out stepped Officer Blake Peterson, a tall, broad-shouldered cop with a smirk that reeked of arrogance. "Going somewhere, sir?" Peterson asked, his voice thick with sarcasm. Enrique frowned but remained polite. "Yes, officer. Just finished a flight and heading home." Peterson eyed him suspiciously. "A flight, huh? In that?" He gestured toward Enrique's luxury sedan. "Pretty fancy ride for someone like you." Enrique sighed, already sensing where this was going. "I'm a pilot. I can afford it." Peterson chuckled, shaking his head. "A pilot? Right. And I'm an astronaut." He stepped closer. "Let me see your license and registration." Enrique calmly handed over his documents, but Peterson barely glanced at them before scoffing. "These could be fake. You sure this isn't stolen?" Enrique's patience thinned. "Officer, is there a reason for this stop?" Peterson smirked. "You fit the profile." Enrique's jaw tightened. "Profile? What profile?" Peterson shrugged. "Foreign guy, fancy car, looks suspicious." Enrique exhaled slowly. "I'm not some criminal. I'm a commercial pilot with thousands of hours in the sky." Peterson chuckled. "Sure, buddy, and I bet you fly for NASA too." He suddenly reached for his radio. "Maybe I should bring you in, check if there are any outstanding warrants on you." Enrique knew what was happening. This wasn't about a real violation. This was about power, control. But then something clicked in his mind. He straightened his posture and put on the calm, commanding presence of a captain addressing a flight crew. "Officer," he said firmly, "you need to rethink your approach, because right now you're making a serious mistake." Peterson scoffed. "And why is that?" Enrique smiled coolly and reached into his bag, not for a weapon, but for something far more powerful. He pulled out his official airline captain's ID and held it up. "Because, Officer Peterson, I'm not just any pilot. I'm a senior captain for one of the largest airlines in the world. I fly international dignitaries, government officials, and yes, law enforcement officers too." Peterson's smirk faltered. "So what?" Enrique leaned in slightly, his voice steady. "So that means I have direct connections to airport security, TSA, and federal aviation authorities. And if I report that an officer is harassing an airline captain without cause, do you know how badly that looks on your record?" Peterson blinked, shifting uncomfortably. Enrique continued. "I also have a GoPro in my car that's been recording this entire conversation. So unless you want this video going straight to your superiors, the media, and the airline executives who hire private security firms, I suggest you rethink this stop." Peterson's confidence cracked. His eyes darted to Enrique's ID, then to the parked car's dashboard where a small red light blinked, a recording device. He cleared his throat. "Listen, this was just a routine check." Enrique raised an eyebrow. "A routine check where you accuse me of stealing my own car?" Peterson swallowed hard. "Look, no harm, no foul. You're free to go." Enrique smirked. "Oh, I know I'm free to go. I was never detained. But thanks for your permission." Peterson opened his mouth to argue but realized he had no ground to stand on. Without another word, he turned on his heel, heading back to his cruiser. By the next morning, the GoPro footage had gone viral. The title? "Filipino pilot shuts down racist cop with one move." Social media exploded with reactions. News outlets picked up the story. Thousands praised Enrique for handling the situation with intelligence and composure. The police department was forced to respond, and under public pressure, Peterson was placed under investigation for racial profiling. A week later, Enrique was at the airport again, but this time not as a pilot on duty. He was there to give a speech on racial equality and respect in law enforcement. As he finished speaking, a younger officer approached him. "Captain de la Cruz, I saw your video. Not all of us are like Peterson. I just wanted to say, I respect what you did." Enrique smiled, shaking the young officer's hand. "I know, and that's why we speak up, for those who still believe in justice." As Enrique walked toward his gate, he glanced at the sky. He had won, not just against one racist cop, but against the silence that let people like Peterson thrive. And he knew that the truth would always fly higher than hate.